Greetings, duelists, and welcome to another video. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Limited list just got updated. Uh, it has been less than 5 minutes at the time of this recording. The only thing I know about this list is Harpor and Upstart Goblin. I haven't seen almost anything else outside of the Forbidden section, which is on the front of my screen. So I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you what I'm expecting out of this list, and I'm going to preface probably and dissect what Konami has been doing and what are their plans moving forward, because 2024 is going to be a game changer with the upcoming sets, those being Maze of Millennium and Phantom Nightmare, just to name a few. Legacy of Destruction is looking like a very promising set as well, with a lot of legacy support, no pun intended. Um, so let's see if this list is going to help shake up the metagame, because right now Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of stale right now as far as our format goes, outside of Fire Kings and Bestial Runic being in the forefront of the format. But without further ado, let's begin. So right here we see Unforbidden, Guido, Kelbeck, Circular, and Isolde. Three out of these four cards are things we probably saw coming. Mathemax Circular is a very, very strange one, but I kind of understand what is trying to happen here when it comes to the ban. So, Mathemax Circular is pretty much a very custom card, like as a monster, like for any archetype. I think the fact that Circular is accessible through many cards like Signet Mining, Small World, Signet Codec, like just to name a few examples, just makes the card very, very polarizing and very strong for Cyber's decks in general. Uh, Cybers is not by no means the most strongest monster type. However, it is like one of the most potent ones with the existence of cards like Circular. Agito and Kelbeck, I think everybody saw this coming. This also happened in the OCG. Tear Elements is a very, very strong deck in this current format, and these two cards are very much responsible for that. Like the fact that you're pretty much playing a game of RNG with them just kind of tells you that it's not very fun for you or your opponent whenever like you're hitting Yahtzee with these cards, and just having them accessible through other means, like for example Beatrice, which we don't see here in the Forbidden list, so it's pretty much safe to say that it's a card that is still in the format, and other catalysts that can make these cards possible just make it very strong. Isolde. So I'm really happy about this hit. I know that a lot of people are not gonna be happy about it, and a lot of people will be happy about it. The thing about Isolde is that this card is just really, really strong. Like the moment this card got printed, I already knew it was troublesome. Like you're looking at pretty much Kriston Halki Fibrax for Warriors, and the Warrior pool is super high impacted. Uh, you can make the argument that Isolde was not really used outside of very few strategies. However, the strategies that we do currently have in the game, like Infernoble Knights, Mikanko, uh, just to name like a few, and also Rescue Ace was playing this card, like just kind of shows you that this card was very, very polarizing for the game. Not it does not to say that those strategies are no longer playable. It just means that they have way less avenues to work with. Uh, Something frustrating that you could see is when an Inferno Knight player just starts summoning like Neospace Aqua Dolphin, which has nothing to do with the archetype, and they just use that as part of their engine in order to do all of their plays while being secure of hand traps. Now, without Isolde in the game, they can no longer do that. They pretty much have to play from other perspectives. So before I go to the other hits, I feel like Konami has two ways to approach this list. At least that was my like hypothesis before the actual list came out. Option one was be very minimalistic, just don't make almost any hits at all. Or option B, actually do a very massive list and hit a lot of cards. Because if you hit the more like dominant strategies, you're just going to have a lot of other decks that are like just as good, but they were not as popular. They would just reach out and claw their way into the meta game. Like a really good example would be Rika Plant, Dragon Link, PK Horus, Vanquish Soul. Just to give you a few examples, Branded would be another example of this. Like Labyrinth is like very strong, but like not super dominant. So those are like the two hypotheses that I had. Let's see how correct we are on those. So now let's go to the limited. Okay, this is a big list. So Konami pretty much went for option B, which is try to hit as many cards that they know are popular. We don't see a lot of meta hits outside of Rika Plants, Unchained, and Rescue Ace. Let's see if I'm missing something else. Oh, okay, I see a few unbans here as well. Yeah, let's talk about them more. Um, Harp Horror, Redox, Airlifter, Charvara, Dryas and Healer, Ib, Snatch Deal, Ghost and Match, Rivalry, and there can be only one. Let's start with the floodgates. So I'm really happy with this approach. I think this is really really strong for the game. Like even though these floodgates outside of there can be only one have not been played as of much in a lot of strategies, I just feel like it's just going to be very polarizing for the game when games are decided just by the activation of these cards alone. So I know that a lot of people are not a fan of floodgates. There are still other floodgates in the game that I think should be addressed, like for example, anti-spell fragrance. However, just seeing these cards gone, well, at least limited, is a very very strong chance for like decks to actually perform outside of those like stun decks. Fun fact: Labyrinth can actually play all those three traps. Uh, and for those who doubting there can be only one, I've seen Lab players play there can be only one. I've seen them like top with it. Shoutouts to Juho, who did top nationals. Like he made top four at Nats with this card. So Snatch Deal. Isolde is gone. So with the banning of Isolde, I think this card is a little bit okay. Back in 2015, Konami unbanned Snatch Deal, but it was super problematic for the game. It was super polarizing. The game was not at a pace where this card was not power crept. However, now in 2024, I think this card is actually power crept. Like the only card that you can compare this to would be like Change of Heart, and Change of Heart is not actually seeing a lot of play. The one thing that Snatch Deal does for you, in contrast to Change of Heart, is it could win you the game under a simplified game state. Outside of that, I think there's no actual reason for this to keep getting hit. Ib the Girls World Chalice Justiciar. Um, that's a tongue twister. So with Denlong already being part of the game, we haven't seen Denlong actually being played like in many strategies. I think Ib is way stronger than Denlong. Like I think the possibilities of this card are just way more immense. However, like I feel like it's been like a couple of years now. I think Ib probably could be alright for the meta game as of right now. I cannot see at the moment what synchro centric strategy can abuse IB and actually just become tier 1, like outright. Dryas and Healer. So it's very unorthodox to do these hits specifically for the plant deck. However, with Aromas getting more support in Phantom Nightmare, I think this is like a preemptive hit just to like make sure that the card is addressed or the archetype as a whole is addressed, because there are a lot of combos that enable like a lot of facilitation to like plants in general. Shoutouts to Sunseed Jess. She has made a super thorough combo guide on plants in general. I'm pretty sure that she'll already have a game plan for this, like with these two cards limited. Sharvara and Airlifter. I'm gonna talk about these two together. So it's no surprise to anyone that Rescue Ace and Unchained were the two more dominant decks in the format. You can make the argument for Labyrinth and Tear Elements and Purely, but I feel like out of all the decks in the game that were like in tier 1 contention, Rescue and Unchained were like the ones who were doing as successful as the other like archetypes. For those thinking that Rescue Ace should not have gotten hit, I feel it's more than fair for Rescue to get hit, considering that Purely got hit very early when Purely became tier 1. Will this actually stop Rescue Ace from being a meta contender? I think this is a really, really strong hit. I think one of the reasons for this hit to be warranted is because Phantom Nightmare is going to have more support for Sinful Spoils, which means that Rescue Ace probably would have became like way more consistent than it was already. And they just pretty much want to have that deck in safety check in order for the other strategies to thrive under their next format. Redux. So this is our third Dragon Ruler off the list. The only one missing is Tidal, unless the semi-limit and unlimited did something to Tidal, but we'll see that soon. 3 rulers on band. I think the rulers got power crept. I already made a video talking about the possibilities of you playing the rulers if they were all on like unbanned here in the TCG. They have done nothing in Master Duel at the moment. Redux is the one that people are afraid of the most because it does synergize with Earth Monsters, which is like one of the strongest attributes in the game, next to like Light and Dark. But my logic behind Redux is like Vernal Sylphs pretty much do the same thing, and you don't see Vernal Sylphs actually being played like in the format. And yes, the Vernal Sylph Earthlock you, but I don't think that's a real issue like with whatever strategy you want to play with them. Harp Horror Limited. Next list, I'll probably see this card to 3. Like it's been a very, very long time since Orcust has been a strategy, like pretty much after TOS format. Is there a chance for Orcust to be tier 1 again? It's very hard to say. However, I do feel like Orcust can actually perform well like as a strategy if people are creative enough with it. In the Master Duel side, I've seen a lot of hybrids for Orcust. In the OCG, I've also seen Orcust do like somewhat level of success with the Horus engine and like the PK engine, just to name a few examples. You can mix it with punks, you can mix it with super heavy samurais, you can mix it with like tier elements. Yeah, congratulations, Orcust players. I think there's a good chance for something to be played here. Semi-limiteds, let's see. Pancratops, Teratop, and Sleepy Memory. So I've seen a few people call out Sleepy Memory to get hit, especially on the semi-limited. So congratulations to Jacine, as well as other duelists and YouTubers out there who actually saw this one coming. Pancratops is a one that I actually saw coming. I My logic behind Pancratops is like it's pretty much just worst Fenrir, and Kashtira Fenrir did not get hit, so that pretty much just tells you that if Fenrir can be at 3, there's no world where Pancratops can just stay at 1. Like the card is not as good as Fenrir. Terratop, I actually like this one a lot. I think a lot of people are going to have fun with this one. There are no real strategies to be played with Terratop. Like there are no real strong rank 3 decks that we have in the game. I think like this engine just got power crept. That's all I have to say about it. Okay, unlimited. Okay, we have a couple. Archfiend, Unicorn, Mind Control, Desires, Spellbook of Judgment, Sprite Starter, Upstart Goblin. I'll start with Spellbook of Judgment. So I feel this card should be on 3 long ago. I think Spellbook just stopped being relevant after 2014 or after 2014. Like I don't see Spellbooks being a meta contender anytime soon. This card did get reprinted in the Rarity Collection, so that's pretty much just like a way of Konami like making more money. Part of Desires, Prosperity did not get hit in this list, so I feel like if Prosperity can stay at 3, there's no reason for Desires to stay at less than 3. That's all I have to say about that. Mind Control, pretty much the same explanation as Snatch Deal. Sprite Starter, Sprites have not been doing super well as a meta contender after like the past few lists, so I think it's fair to have this card stay. As long as Sprite Elf is banned, I think we're fine. Kashtira Unicorn. Yeah, after Arise Heart gone from the game, I don't think there's anything wrong with Kashtira at the moment. I still think Kashtira Fenrir should not be at 3, but that more time will tell in the later formats. As of right now, there's no real issue with them, so that's perfectly fine. Upstart Goblin. So I think this is fine. Like the number one reason Upstart Goblin got hit in the first place was because of deck construction, like management. Pretty much Konami wanted people to be more creative with how people play their decks. Now we're in a format where people just occupy most of their main decks with defensive cards, unless you're playing like a very, very bare bones strategy. There's no real reason for Upstart Goblin. The other caveat to this is that Pot of Prosperity is in the game, and Pot of Prosperity is just as strong as Upstart Goblin in as a consistency factor for a lot of decks and archetypes. The last one to discuss is Infernity Archfiend. Infernities have done nothing after 2014, so I think this is more than fair. So, what do I think about this list? I think the format will shape up a bit. Unchained and Rescue Ace really got neutered on this list. I think Labyrinth, purely Dragon Link, like all the other contenders that were close into the format, to those other 2 decks are going to still be doing just as well as just as dominant. I think we're still in like a diverse format. Runic, the players are going to enjoy this as well. Like the Runic Bestial deck literally just won the last YCS, and nothing in that deck got hit on this list. So yeah, I think this is a very promising look for our next format. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction to this. More videos coming soon. And yeah, let's see what happens. Keep practicing and keep dueling.